So thank you so much for doing this. I so appreciate you.
This is so exciting for you, for me. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you. And I am recording now on here, recording on this. I'm not sure if we're going to put the video out. We might do the pictures, but just because still we're kind of doing bootleg lighting and all that, and I want to make you look the best possible. Your makeup looks on point also, by the way. I put makeup on, but I don't think you could tell because I don't even know what I did wrong today. Welcome to the Casa de Confidence podcast, a podcast for women about going in the direction of their dreams and the confidence it takes to reach them. I'm your host, Julie DeLucca-Collins. I am a dreamer, a traveler, visionary, risk taker. I am a lover of books, activist, philanthropist, and most of all, a supporter of women in their dreams. If you stumble into our casa for the first time, welcome. If you've been here before, I'm so glad you're back. Grab your drink of choice, settle in, and make yourself at home.
Hey Julie, how you doing?
Hey Daniel, how are you today?
I'm doing great.
Happy Saturday.
Happy almost birthday.
It's my favorite day of the year.
It is?
It is.
I know.
You know that.
It's your favorite month.
It is my favorite month. April is the best month. And I've had a pretty good month.
So we were irresponsible in our first episode not to introduce the listeners to our entire family.
Oh, I think we should introduce everyone to our entire family.
And I'm sure there will be episodes in which you will hear them.
Yes.
We have Simba, our little tiny Maltese.
4 pounds.
4 pounds.
He's adorable.
He's 6 pounds now. He's getting a little chunky.
Yeah, he is. It's the quarantine 15. At least I hope it's not 15, but 15 equivalent for him.
And then there's our little whiner.
But I love him.
He's a good dog.
Yogi
when
Bear.
He's not being a...
Yogi Bear.
Yogi Bear Collins. That's his official name.
Yep, and he is a mama's boy.
He is a mama's boy.
But he also learned bad habits from his big sister that, may she rest in peace, Bella, who we effectively used to call Chunkalina because she used to eat a lot and got chunky.
She was huge.
Oh my gosh, she did not know what the hunger scale was. I really wish Corinne would have taught her that, rather.
Anyway, Julie.
What am I
question,
drinking?
What are you drinking?
I am drinking from the Yankees glass. And it's got some ice. And it's a clear beverage.
Oh, so it's not coffee this time.
No, I'm laying off the coffee.
So you're laying on the...
I am drinking an alcoholic beverage. Thank you very much. But it is not Tito's. And if you'd like to be a sponsor of the show, we would appreciate it.
I'm pretty sure if you wanted Tito's to sponsor the show, you would tell them that's what was in the glass.
You are correct. So perhaps we should move away from talking about beverages.
So question number 2, as always, who's your guest today?
Today on the show, ladies and gentlemen, well, ladies and ladies, because I don't know if a lot of gentlemen would enjoy hearing me talk to other women about women's stuff. Not that I think we talked about periods, but why are you looking away?
Sorry, I was in my safe space. My bad.
That's okay. I love it when you come back to me. Oh, Daniel, if people could see you're blushing, I love it. Chelsey Tucker is on the show.
I had the pleasure to meet her a year and a half ago in Nashville.
It hasn't even been a year, dude.
Really?
We were there in June. Has it been that long in your mind?
Time is just a construct.
Now you're going to be talking about quantum physics, something nerdy like that.
No.
Okay, so you, not me, but you met her for the first time when we were in Nashville for one of the PNP or the No BS program live events. We were there for the Don't Stop Believing race. Chelsey is actually someone who is very near and dear to my heart, as most of the ladies from PNP or the No BS program are. She is kind-hearted, loving. She's a mom. She's an artist. She has encountered some big challenges in her life, some health issues, and above it all, she continues to show up for herself, for her family, and I just love her. She is an artist, like I mentioned, and we happen to have 5 of her paintings in our home. Okay, so 4 of them are part of a set, but I just love saying that I own 5 of her paintings because she is in high demand, people. So without further ado, let's hear Chelsey. You are someone that I have been looking forward to having on the podcast because you embody a lot of the qualities of the type of women who I want to motivate and inspire, and I want to show that anything is possible as long as you have a dream and you can go after that dream with confidence and love. So Why don't you take a minute, Miss Chelsey Tucker, artist, mom, friend, community activist. I want you to introduce yourself.
Well, thank you so much for having me. My name is Chelsey Tucker. I was born and raised in Nashville, Tennessee, still live in the suburbs of Nashville, Tennessee. I have been married to my husband now for 12 years, almost 13, and we have 5 children together. They range in age from 12 to 3, 3 girls, 2 boys. And it is never a dull moment here at our house. There's always something going on. I am passionate about adoption and foster care. That is something that that's built our family. That's what, how we became parents, is through adoption, through foster care. So I'm a strong advocate for those who are interested in doing that. And then I'm also an artist. I'm a full-time mom and also a full-time artist working out of my dining room studio that we transformed just last year into something more permanent for me to work.
Absolutely. And I am a recipient and supporter of your art because your art speaks to my heart. And I think that it does to many others. Your art is whimsical. It's beautiful. It's bold. It has colors that just really inspire and bring out joy to the people that see it. So I'm going to move to the dismay of Dan because I'm sure he'll have something to say about this. But look at that. I don't know if you can, the set of 4.
Yeah.
I arranged them with the little frame. I wanted something bigger and I haven't been able to find it, but I wanted to do something very abstract with them. So
I love that. Well, you were one of the very first recipients of one of the pieces that I did, one of the rose pieces that you obviously have, that when I was just very, very ripe to the scene, I hadn't even considered myself an artist. It was just something that I was exploring, and when someone said, it kind of snowballed from there, and it was like, hey, I really like what you're doing. And at first I was like, you like my art? Like, that's something that you like? I was doing it for the pure enjoyment because I felt like I had to do it. It was something that it was just inside me that had to come out. So when it resonated with others, it is still just mind-blowing to me, and I'm just so thankful that you are a recipient and a supporter, and it just makes my heart so happy.
Listen, I will continue to be a supporter, but I think I need to get the inside track in some of the art going out and being produced, because every time I see a piece that I love, it's already gone. And I don't know, maybe there's got to be a schedule, or maybe we can bid. I don't know. But I do love that first piece, though, and it is my favorite. It is in my office. And I will say that it's in a very strategic place so that when I am on a conference call or a video call I also have a mirror on my desk because every once in a while I want to touch up my lipstick, but it's so I have the mirror also so that it reflects and I can see it from either the video or from the mirror. And some people may think I'm crazy, but for me, I love to be surrounded by things that bring me joy.
Yes. Yes.
Once upon a time, and not to go into it a different chapter of my life, but once upon a time in a different chapter of my life, when I was married before, I don't think that I surrounded myself with things that I loved and enjoy. And when I divorced and I started to pull out some of the stuff that I had packed away when I had moved in with my ex-husband, and all of a sudden the things that I love and the colors, and it was sort of like a reawakening of my soul. And I swore from that day on that nothing would come into my house that I didn't absolutely just love, treasure, and brought me joy. And for instance, even in this room, everything that I'm surrounded with are things, and this is my favorite room of the house, that I'm surrounded with are things that just when I look at them make me smile and make me think of people who are dear, people who I love, or experiences. Like we have and again, I'll turn it over to Dan's dismay, but this other one there is actually a picture of the hotel where Dan and I stayed, because I remarried, and Dan and I stayed in this beautiful hotel in Niagara-on-the-Lake, and the artist signed that for us. So it reminds me of our honeymoon. So I love that.
Yes. Well, that just so goes to show, just as you surround yourself in your home with things that bring you joy, that's what we should be doing in our lives as well.
Absolutely.
And I think that that's really kind of what has been the shift for me over the last year, is being intentional with who and what I surround myself with. And it changes everything, doesn't it? Like when you surround yourself with the things that bring you joy and love, and that's where the inspiration comes from.
Yep, absolutely. And I think that in our lives, we are so busy, and of course we are in a different time right now, and we can talk about that later, but certainly we just go through the motions of life, right? We buy things, we get things, we hang out with people, we do things that don't necessarily fill our hearts with joy or love, or we feel obligated to do, and they don't resound, or they don't make us smile. It's just going through the motions. And I'm hoping that through whatever challenging experience the world is going through right now, that we can really take the time to adopt not only gratitude, but trim some of the fat.
Yeah,
trim
absolutely.
Some of the things that are not serving us, and begin to appreciate the little things. And I have loved seeing how people are doing that right now. So
I hope that that's one of the things that continues through this time, is really that seeing that we didn't need all of the things, and really what is important, and living on purpose. I think that is something that I truly hope carries into whatever new phase we're headed into with the way that the world is going.
The future tends to be something that scares most of us. And of course, it rightly so, because there's a level of discomfort. We can't control it. But one of the biggest things that I think now more than ever is that we can control the today that can shape the future. So although we might not be able to understand what may come, and there may be things coming at us that we didn't expect, as much as we can really monitor what we're doing today to then go into and step into the future will help us through the process for sure. So
absolutely. Yep. Knowing where you're going, I think that's fantastic. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there.
So I love that. Now let's go to a little bit of the past, because I wanna talk a little bit about your story. And one of the reasons I asked you to be a guest in the podcast is because I admire you. I think that you are one of those people that no matter who meets you, they will fall in love with you because of your kindness, because of your light. And I want to talk a little bit about your journey, and let's talk about what led you, and I know that you and I met through our mentor and her No BS program, Corinne Crabtree. But something brought you there. Talk a little bit about that journey.
So my journey there is kind of abrupt and amazing and divine, and how it all happened is amazing. So I was looking for a long-term solution to becoming the healthiest version of myself. And I wanted to lose weight. That was really what I had been focused on, just specifically the actual pounds of losing weight. And I had tried my entire life, really. I started as a healthy child, and then when I kind of hit around 8 or 9, I started really gaining weight. And for really my whole childhood, had yo-yo dieted and tried all the things, even as a kid. And I remember as an adult, I called my mom. I was on another low-carb diet just a few years ago, and I said, Mom, I want an apple. I know I'm not overweight because I eat apples. Like, what can I do? And she said, well, Chelsey, I used to work with a lady named Corinne. She has a program that you might enjoy. And so she said, here's her name. I looked her up, and it was like, click, instant. I felt just a connection with her. I felt a connection with what she was saying, and I felt like all the things she was saying were the things I was thinking, but she organized them in such a way that it just made complete sense. So my mom and Corinne and Chris and Corinne's mom all worked together years and years and years ago in Nashville at one of the local corporations here.
That's awesome. And I think the fact that you said that Corinne sort of organized it for you. And that is one of the phenomenal gifts that she has. She teaches in very simple ways. And she's not teaching a new wheel, a triangle wheel. She's teaching the wheel, but in such a way that, that wheel is round and this is how the wheels move. So right. I love that about you. So how much weight did you lose with Corinne's program?
So currently I've lost 167 pounds.
And I think
a whole person. Yeah, a whole entire person. And I lost it in about 18 months or so. So it was relatively quick. But I consider that divine as well, because I got very, very sick over the fall and had trouble walking. And had I not lost that weight, I can't imagine what life would have been like trying to transform myself during that time. So I'm extremely thankful for her program, and not only the concepts of organizing the weight loss, but just the mental coaching that she provides has been, just a game changer for me in every aspect of my life.
Absolutely. As a recipient of her coaching and recipient of the tools that she has given us, I know for myself that in my life, I also would not have been able to, and again, we live very different lives. I don't have children. I climbed the corporate ladder and certainly made it to the highest level in the corporate ladder that you can reach, really. But I did that because I was able to get those tools to really be able to manage myself, manage my life, create habits and instances for goals that I wanted to reach. And definitely Corinne has been very instrumental in that. So thank you for that. I appreciate you sharing your weight loss journey, because for sure that was certainly someone who struggled with weight is a big goal and aspiration and a dream to achieve, for sure, to be able to get to your healthy weight.
Absolutely.
Now, tell me about your health issues. And I know that, and again, feel free to share as much as you want, but I think that you have a great platform to be able to give some information and knowledge to other people that may be struggling or that may not understand some of the issues that some people like yourself are dealing through. So can you speak to that?
Sure, yes. So I am currently 33, just turned 33 last month. And when I was 21, I began to have just an odd collection of symptoms that couldn't be labeled as anything specific. It was nausea and vomiting, numbness and tingling, just a very odd collection of symptoms. And then one day, I literally woke up and was blind in my left eye. And oddly, I felt relieved. Because I felt like, okay, for sure this is something. Maybe this can get the doctors to be pointed into a direction that will allow for a diagnosis. Because prior to that, Julie, it was like, we don't have any idea what is going on with you. There's lots of misdiagnoses and there, lots of guessing. And so at the age of 21, after losing my eyesight due to something called optic neuritis, which is inflammation of your optic nerve, I was diagnosed with MS. And had issues related to this diagnosis of MS, carried the diagnosis of MS for almost 11 years.
It's a long time.
And I had a lot of relapses, if you will, within my eyesight, and I'm permanently blind in my left eye as a result of just repeated episodes and relapses of optic neuritis. But it wasn't until last year in February when I had blindness in both of my eyes simultaneously that the diagnosis was changed to something called NMOSD, which stands for neuromyelitis optica spectrum disorder. You can think of it as like a close cousin to MS, but not MS, and certainly not treated the same as MS. So it was a little bit of a shock to my husband when we received the diagnosis. I was relieved because if you can imagine during that time of being treated for MS, I would have relapses on medications that I wasn't supposed to have relapses on. I was supposed to be getting better and I wasn't. And so when this diagnosis changed, after so many years, my husband was infuriated and just beside himself, and I was relieved. I was so thankful that we finally had an answer that made sense, and that I wasn't actually a medical unicorn, that I wasn't actually the one that couldn't be cured. So it made so much sense. And then the doors kind of exploded from there with opportunities and to be able to share my story. NMOSD is considered a rare disease. And with rare diseases, there's so much progress and work going into the treatment. And so being able to work with all the pharmaceutical companies that are working hard for us as patients has been a dream. I mean, it's been an amazing platform to share my story of hope, because that's what I hope that my story symbolizes, as hope, is that there's absolutely hope to achieve your dreams, even if life does not look like what you imagined it would look like. So it's been an amazing, wild ride since then.
I love what you're saying, and definitely in a very small scale can identify. For a long time, when I lived in New York City, I probably would spend months with a cough and nobody could figure out what is wrong. I went to an ENT, I went to an allergist, I went back to my regular doctor, you name it, a chiropractor, and nobody could figure out what was going on with this cough. And then finally, I was diagnosed with an autoimmune, and I was diagnosed with Sjogren's. And then all of a sudden, I was relieved. I was like, thank God. Like, now I know what makes sense. And I know that, okay, this is a diagnosis, and there's certain things that I can do. I'm going to have it for the rest of my life. It's not going to go away. It's an autoimmune, but I need to learn about it, and I need to educate and how to be able to incorporate this new thing. And it wasn't a new thing, but I wasn't living with it. Now I learned to live with it. So for sure, I think that that's important, that sometimes we're dealt things that make a different normal for us, but we need to be able to just figure out how to best maximize the circumstances.
Absolutely, yeah. And use the circumstances as something that we can truly learn from. So I don't really feel like I've been dealt, I've had questions before, like, are you disappointed that you have this, because my NMOSD is considered autoimmune as well. Are you disappointed that these are the cards you've been dealt? And it's no. When you think about it and all the opportunities that are available to learn through the pain and the challenges, I think it's made me a better person. I know that I am certainly more adaptable than I've ever been, just allowing anything to really come up as far as symptoms or new challenges. I mean, not easy by any stretch, but I think that it's definitely allowed me to have more adaptability. And I think that that's something that no other circumstance in my life could have given me. So I definitely feel like this is a gift that's been given to me, truly. And I never would have discovered art had I not lost my eyesight as well. So I think that that's another huge component to my story that, not many people realize unless they know, of course. But I didn't become an artist until, just a few years ago when I lost my eyesight in both of my eyes. And that was truly one of the most devastating times of my life. I wasn't at the point where I am now where I thought that I could grow from this. Bob and I had 3 kids at the time. I was legally blind in both eyes for 8 months. That wasn't a time of I didn't feel like that was an opportunity to grow. I felt like I'm done. This is it. This is the worst thing that could have absolutely happened to me, because I truly believed that at the time. And really what came from that was, my husband answered so many questions for me that I had. I mean, Julie, think about it. You wake up truly and your world looks completely different than it did the day before. And colors aren't the same, and you can't see your kids' faces, and you can't drive, and there's just so many things that are different. But through that, and through Bob answering an enormous amount of questions about what things look like and the colors and textures, I was able to start visualizing the things that I wasn't able to see, but I was able to see them and imagine them, and that's when I started painting. That's how I became an artist.
And I love that part of the story, because knowing that about you, when I look at your art and I see the vibrant colors, the shapes, the textures of your art, I know that it is not just you thinking back, oh, okay, what does a pink flower look like, right? You're really interpreting more than just a memory. You are actually putting into your art specifically the description, the love, and I think that the care that you're also receiving from your partner, from your husband, and the descriptions, and really reimagining some of that with a new set of non-physical eyes. So
absolutely.
I think
You're
that's
exactly
beautiful.
Right. Thank you. Thank you.
I heard you say that in the middle of when things were challenging and you were going through the majority of the diagnosis and not being able to see, that you didn't see that this is working out for you, correct? So tell me, what started to shift for you that helped you see that this was happening for you and not to you?
Well, it was truly when it took about 8 months of being in it. And I mean, sitting in it and really feeling the feels of, I don't think I think that experience was exactly what I needed. It certainly wasn't a happy time, but the shift became very important to me, and it started happening around 8 months after I had lost my vision. I started gaining a little bit of it back, but really what happened was I realized that although life didn't look at all like I thought it would, literally, figuratively, all the things,
right?
I could still live a very, very good and happy life, and my thoughts are really what triggered that. I was able to see the good in a situation that was so dark. I was able to find the light in the dark situation. And so through that, I really just started to decide, okay, that every day something new may come, but I can decide to find the light if I want to. And other days it may be challenging to find, but I can still do it. I can do this. And so that's where this confidence and momentum came from, was no matter what is handed to me, I have a choice. I have a choice in how I move forward and how I look through things. So that has definitely been the shift for me. And I know this last fall, I woke up visually impaired again, and then throughout the span of 12 hours, lost the ability to move my legs and any feeling from the waist down. And I remember being scared, but I also remember this overwhelming confidence of, I can figure this out, and we can figure this out.
It out.
And so,
you have.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that you have all the right answers, but I think that that's exactly it. It's knowing that if you put your mind to work on it because you've been through something difficult in the past and you just believe in yourself and believe that I'm going to do it, that really pushes you forward. And I know that there was still fear. There was no absence of fear, obviously, because waking up and not being able to move your body and walk, that would create who knows, right, in somebody. But I think that understanding that, okay, what's next, and starting to tackle what the next thing would be is a way that you continue to move forward.
Absolutely. And you said something so important. The answers aren't required to move forward. It's not that you have to have all of the answers. You certainly don't. You just have to have the faith and the belief that it can be figured out.
Yeah, and absolutely.
And so I love that you said that, because I was before I needed all of the answers. I needed the path paved, and I needed to know the directions and where we were headed, and I needed to know all of the things, and that's not entirely true. That's not how life works. We don't get to have all the answers, but we can still have the faith and belief that it all can be figured out, and that's where I operate from now.
I love it. Tell me, who inspires you?
I surround myself with people that inspire me, so I don't have to look very far to be inspired. Just like you mentioned, you collect beautiful things in your home that bring you joy and love. I feel like I strategically surround myself with people that do the exact same thing. So my husband, my children, my best friend, our mutual friend, Jerry, and just the people Jerry. In my life. I do too. She's an angel to me, and she is Auntie JJ to my children, and we adore her. And just the amazing people that I surround myself with who allow me to be me and love me for exactly who I am. That is something that's been so important.
Oh, I love it. And that's a value that I think that we also share in that sense. I also curate the people who I spend time with, because although you're not always going to have roses and wonderfulness in a relationship, but you do want to be very strategic with having women and men and people who lift you up, who believe in you and who are there to support you or even call you out. And I think that Bob is a perfect example. And, not every woman is lucky enough and fortunate enough to have a partner that does for them. And you and I do, thankfully. I mean, I certainly don't know what I would do without my hashtag handsome hot husband.
Hey, I'm with you. Bob is my partner. He is, in every sense of the word, my partner.
Right.
He's my lover, my best friend, but he is in the trenches with me. We are together in this. And so I really am, I know, talk about how fortunate we both are, but I truly treasure him.
Absolutely. And I think that for us who are in that position, we weren't always in a position where we had someone love us and support us and be by us. But I think that we realized that we were okay by ourselves as well. Would you say that applies to you?
Absolutely. I think, what's strange, I think when you're loved fully and accepted in who you are, you're more empowered to realize and recognize whole. You are a whole and worthy of loving and deserving of all of the love that you give yourself, and that it's okay if you don't have a partner. You are okay as you are. You are perfectly, wonderfully, beautifully made as you are.
What would you say to the woman? Yeah, what would you say to the woman, though, that maybe is not feeling whole and it's not feeling capable and is not feeling sure they can go after achieving their dreams or getting out of their mess?
Well, there's no person that's going to complete you. So if there's a woman out there that's looking to feel complete by another person's actions or something that they feel like another person can do for them that would complete them, that's not going to be where you find your completeness and your wholeness. Where you find that is within yourself. And so if you're looking outside of yourself, that's not the direction that you want to be looking, I think, as far as looking for that. But as far as wanting to go after your dreams and your goals, I think that that's something that has to be worked at over time. There are, you have to really examine the beliefs that you have inside of yourself. If there is something that's in your way and stopping you, what are you thinking about? What are the thoughts that you're thinking? And is it something that's a limiting belief? Do you truly believe that you can do it? I think there's a difference between wanting it and then believing that you can actually get there and do it. And so where is, where are you on that spectrum? And I think that's something that you have to examine.
Yep. I totally agree with you. I think that in my weight loss journey, I have seen that the belief system is so important to be able to support your goals and your dreams and the journey to them. For many years, I pretended I really wanted to lose weight, and sure, I might have wanted that, but I didn't really believe I could, and not believing. And it wasn't until, and look, I'm not at my weight loss goal. I think I still have a lot of habits that I need to, eating right, making sure that I am nourishing my body with food, that I'm really working and again, I think that even I have terrible habits. I traveled for many years, right? So I tend to just shut out and not pay attention to what I'm eating sometimes. And those are the habits that kept me from being able to reach some of my weight loss goals. But I have learned as well that now I do believe that I can lose the weight. I've created evidence for myself. And as soon as I started to believe that I could do that, just like I could believe that I could become XYZ in a corporate world, or I can be okay and I was capable of speaking in public, or whatever it was, the dream that I was trying to achieve, that same belief was important to translate into anything I wanted to accomplish. So
absolutely. Yes, and knowing the difference
key
between wanting something and believing that you can do it that's where that pivot, that's where that shift is. I think that we as women, we have dreams and goals and aspirations, and the want is very valid. The want,
all of us have wants,
there.
Right?
Yes, the want is valid. It's the belief system to back it up that we need to really, truly examine. And then offer ourselves an enormous amount of grace too. I mean, we're human, we're learning. We're going to constantly be learning and growing.
Yep.
And so there's just a delicate balance between both of those, but definitely doable and possible.
I was thinking of an example as you were talking. Our lovely Jerry posted a video in this makeup group that we're in, about, I'm not going to name the brand because it's not an ad, but it was a brand video for this company that does beautiful makeup. I probably own a lot of it. And this girl took you through this makeup tutorial, and I thought, oh, I don't think I could ever do my makeup like that. I don't think I can. And then I thought, oh, but I do want to look good. I do want to, and you have that. And sometimes I almost pulled the trigger and bought everything she was featuring in the video last night. And then I realized, no, I have to be ready to actually fail at doing my makeup a few times. And this is not something I'm just going to purchase and let it sit in a drawer in the hopes that I'm going to look like her, or in the hopes that I'm going to do my makeup as well as she did. And I think that in life, a lot of times we do that. We think that our wanting to be or do is what's going to cut it. But we have to go through the process of experimenting. We have to go through the process of maybe that's not enough eyeshadow, that's too much, and that's not how you contour. And if there are any men listening, I'm sorry, maybe Dan can talk sports in the outro.
He can balance it out. What's so funny though is I text messaged Jerry and I said, this is all your fault, but I did purchase everything she had listed, and it's because I had the belief that
that's awesome.
I can do that. So it's so, but there's the belief system there, but I also think, that is so funny because I messaged her and I said, this is all your fault.
Well, what was her fault is that I haven't really been on social media, and when I finally logged in and I saw it last night, the video was 45 minutes, and I spent the 45 minutes of my time being up, and I cannot believe that I watched the whole 45 minutes, but I was enthralled. So if anybody wants, I may put that video link on the show notes so they can go check it out. This girl, wow, she was amazing.
I know she believed that she could, so she did. And
so she did, I know.
And she did. And so for that.
And she's not a makeup artist.
No.
She just wanted to help some of the blemishes that she had in her face and rock the look. And she did. Oh, it was fabulous. I loved it. And I learned a lot. And I definitely will have to. I need to go back and see what's on my shopping cart, because some of the stuff is in my shopping cart.
Yeah, and I think that that's just such a testament to something that we can learn, and be willing to be bad at.
Right.
We have to be willing to be beginners.
Mm-hmm. Not everybody's willing to be a beginner. Not everyone is willing to just suck at it. And that is where a lot of times we go wrong. We end up thinking that if we want to be successful, we have to start at the success level. And that's not at all. Can you hear my dog? He's barking.
I can't. Well, and I don't know if you can hear my dog. He's snoring, so no big deal. No, yeah. I think that that's so right. I think that that translates into my artistry too. When I was just had started painting, and I knew that I wanted to paint. I knew that I had to paint, but putting it out there to the world was something that I felt like it wasn't good enough, and that I couldn't consider myself an artist because I had all this criteria in my head of what an artist should be. And I thought, an artist, I couldn't possibly consider myself one. And it wasn't until I started validating myself, saying, no, I am the only one who can do this, like this. I'm the only me. I'm the only creator of this. And I am an artist. And so once I developed that belief system and started putting my work out there, it wasn't that other people were validating my work. That's amazing that if someone finds a connection with it, that's fantastic. But it was just the belief system that I am an artist. And then the decisions that were made from that belief really propelled me to go out and do the things that I wanted to do and that I'm still doing as an artist. So I think that you mentioned a makeup video, and it was kind of like that clicked with me, that totally makes sense. Yeah.
I think self-validation is one of the most key ingredients in being a confident woman, dreamer, and person who achieves her goals. And for the times that we don't achieve our goals, know that we can keep trying, right? And there's nobody who can validate you that will make you achieve your goals. You have to actually then borrow that belief and validate and say, I will do this. And understand that and even if nobody else thinks that you were successful at it, having that knowledge that you were successful for yourself and satisfied with what you've done. So
absolutely. And then knowing also the value in failure, and that failing is there's a difference between quitting and failing. And that failing, there's so much to learn. I'm eager to fail now. I'm eager to try new things because I know that there's not a failure in the world right now that could stop me from doing what I want to do. It's just going to propel me. I'll learn more. I'll do more. I'll figure it out. And the only way to do that, though, there's going to be times where I fail because that's how life is. But that's certainly not going to stop me.
When I did the first leg of the Camino de Santiago a couple of years ago, well, it's going to be like 4 years ago now, my girlfriend and I went, and I was struggling with plantar fasciitis. And every day we would walk, and listen, I didn't prep as much as I needed to be able to walk 15 to 20 miles a day. But we would walk, and then finally on this one particular day, we were in the city of Pamplona, and we were walking through, and finally we got to a point in which it was going to be a very difficult climb. And it was one of the most iconic days that you climb up this mountain, and you get to the top of the mountain, and you have these pilgrims or sculptures of pilgrims at the top of the mountain. But every single step of the way was so painful for me. When we got to the village right before that climbed, I gave up, and I said, I can't do it. Every step, I'm crying at every step. I remember being so afraid and so disappointed in myself because I had not pushed past the pain and the discomfort and the difficulty. And then, I ended up meeting my girlfriend and my travel companions for the day later on that night. And the one thing, and my girlfriend's a doctor. So she said to me, she's like, you would have really messed up your feet. She's like, it was a difficult climb for all of us. And then the difficult part was actually coming down the mountain, because it's a terrain that it's all rocks. Every step would have really hurt your feet. So she's like, if you didn't accomplish that particular goal, that mountain's not going anywhere. When you're ready for it, it'll be there. And sure enough, when I went back, rather than starting where the journey from where her and I had left off, I made Dan climb the mountain with me. And I was intent that I needed to go back. And I had done the work, right? I had worked out. I had gotten in shape. I had really strengthened my feet. I was not suffering from the plantar fasciitis. And we went up that mountain, and getting to the top of that with ease, knowing that, well, it wasn't ease because it was still, a challenge, a climb. But getting up there, I thought, I made it. And the difficulty I stopped beating myself up, and I had stopped doing that because I knew that I was going back. And I think that that's the one thing with goals, that if we don't accomplish them, it's important to be able to say, okay, fine, I quit, but let me go back to it. And now what did I do that I could do different, right, to be able to accomplish it? And I know that I made the right choice in a sense to not push myself to a place where something would have really gone wrong, or I wouldn't have learned from the experience. I'm better for it. I'm better for having come back the second time around.
Absolutely. And you just bring up so many valid points about goals, and that it's not always the end destination that we can learn from, although I'm certain it felt so good to accomplish that goal. What you learned in the middle is something that is invaluable, and that you wouldn't have necessarily learned had you reached your goal the first time. And so there are so many valuable things that are in the quote unquote failures of what we consider failures are truly not. They're learning opportunities, I think.
Everything is an opportunity. And I think that also, if you look at, I could have looked back and said, I never did that part of the trek, and looked at it from a perspective of sadness. But then I said, you know what? I'm going to try it. And once I did it, I treasured the experience of have done that with my husband and gotten to the very top, and then making the climb down, which I don't think I definitely would have been able to. I would have had to brought something to get me down, because it was a tough climb for sure.
Yeah.
So now you mentioned your beautiful children. I've had an opportunity to hug them, and they are adorable, ranging in ages. Tell me a little bit about what it's life like with your kids at home.
Well, in terms of the way that the world is currently?
And or overall, and being a mom, an artist, a busy person.
Sure, we'll do a little bit of both, because so much of what we've just talked about applies to life currently. One of the things that I have experienced over the last few weeks are thoughts of how am I going to provide what they need, because I'm homeschooling now 5. Whereas before I was able to work from 7:30 to 2:30 within my home without any children here. And now those hours are devoted specifically to them. How are we going to be able to get it all done? This was the question that I had for myself. How are we going to be able to get it all done? And here was the answer that I came up with. And then I'll circle back to what life is like, because it is unbelievable. About 4.5, 5 weeks ago, all of the kids, the schools shut down because of COVID-19.
Right.
And my thought was, how in the world am I going to incorporate my career now in with teacher and mom? And how can I get all of this accomplished? And the truth of the matter is, I can't get it all done as I was doing before. So I've had to really, so I don't call this survival mode, because this is not what this is. We are just living efficiently. That's what we're in efficiency mode. So prioritizing the things that absolutely have to be done, delegating things that can be delegated that I don't necessarily have to do myself, right?
Yep.
And then virtual tutoring, virtual lessons, anything virtual that my kids are interested in, sign us up, because that is one less thing that I have to teach. And that is something that, first of all, my son is an amazing saxophone player. I don't play saxophone, but his saxophone instructor is willing to Skype him and do lessons.
Love it.
Yes. So yes to that. I am a singer and my daughter wants to sing, but I am not going to be her vocal coach right now.
Excellent.
So she is taking her first vocal lesson tomorrow virtually,
Ooh.
which we're super excited about. I am an artist. My other two daughters want to take virtual art lessons because I am not in a place right now where I can give art lessons. Just knowing where to put my time and attention has been something that has been so helpful for me. We're still working things out. You know, Bob was home for the first 4 weeks. This was the first week where it was me at home.
Okay.
And so my thought was not that I can't do this. It was, we're going to figure it out.
Right. And I think that's the perfect mindset. And you touched on something that has been my motto forever is do what you do best and delegate the rest.
Yes. Yeah.
I think that a lot of women, and we put this pressure on ourselves to want to do it all, but there is no doing it all, because when you're doing one thing, you're not doing something else. And although, and I think it's an executive and being in the business world and running around doing the things that I've done, nobody in this world will clean a toilet better than me. But my time is more valuable. And there are times that I'm not working all the time or haven't been traveling or haven't been doing the things, right? Or volunteering. But that time then is reserved for my time with my husband. Yes. And if I want to have a connection with him, then I needed to have somebody come and do the things. You know, scrub the baseboards, do the toilets, so that when we have time off, it's time together. Time enjoying each other's company and not us fighting over who did and didn't do and didn't take out the garbage. And listen, we're not perfect. We still, every once in a while, hey, who did that? Who didn't do that or whatnot? Because that's the dance of marriage, right? And by no means are we perfect and live in harmony and bliss, but we try. And I think that what your message as a busy mom to others, I hope it resonates. That do the things that matter and let it go. Let somebody else help you. Let somebody else teach you. I know that a lot of times, you know, young moms, for instance, will want to, you know, be with their kids all the time and do it all, and then they don't take time for themselves, or they think that maybe they're not in a position to be able to get a babysitter or get someone, but barter or say, hey, let me watch your kids, you can watch mine, and we can do other things and create that space. And maybe, again, if you're not good at one thing or you feel that maybe someone enjoys it or can do better job at it, have at it.
Yes, absolutely. And I am with you on that. I think that I could give my daughter a vocal lesson and I could teach my other two art, but I am not the best person right now to do that job. There's someone else with far more patience and far more attention, quite frankly, to give them. And that's what they need. And so we're in a place where we can do that. And so it has truly been, what can I do my very best? And then looking at everything else and saying, okay, where are the holes? Who can fill these positions? What can we do? And it's not necessarily that if you're a young mom or you can't afford to pay for these services, you're exactly right. Barter, trade, but understand how important it is to care for yourself first and make sure your cup is filled, because you can't pour from an empty cup. You can't give so much of yourself away and then expect to continually do that without filling yourself up. And so, I think it's just really important to always examine, not just right now, but I've always been intentional about examining the responsibilities that I have for myself and just making sure that my time is being used the most effectively.
I believe that there's no such thing as life and work balance. There's a blend of life and work. And I think now, under the circumstances, people are starting to see that, right? Because they are home, they are working. And I'm hoping our world can become a place where it becomes more accepted to be the mom that is high-powered in the boardroom, but has a toddler at her hip. And this is the world where the dad may be in a conference call, but is also helping to cook dinner for their children. Because life is a blend of everything. And we tend to put everything into these separate categories. And we're so stressed running in between the categories that we don't get a chance to really enjoy the moments. So
you're absolutely right. Yeah, it's been life at our house the last few weeks. We've prioritized fun over everything else. I said, we're going to be in this house together. The time is going to pass anyway.
Right.
How can we make this fun? Because I want my kids, I want us to look back on this time and say, this is what was happening in the world. And yes, it was very serious. And yes, there was a lot going on. But how did we connect as a family? How did we experience joy? Because I think that that's so important, that, you know, such a great lesson for my kiddos to understand that even through hard circumstances, there's joy to be found. And so we really prioritize that, which means that I've said yes to a lot of things I swore I'd say I would never, ever, ever allow. Slime being one of them. I said there was no way that was ever going to happen. But I think, you know, I definitely said that, no, that's something that they want to do. And I think that, you know, that has just been such a joy for us to spend more time together. And as big as this house is, I notice now we all still congregate in the same room. Now we're congregating now more, you know, towards each other and together than we ever have before. And I think that that's a beautiful thing.
And you're making the memories that I think that when the kids look back in this time, in this part of history for them, I love the fact that you are creating a safe environment, you're creating a loving environment, and you are giving them the understanding that closeness and togetherness, you can conquer it and go through it, right? Because time is going to happen anyway. I love that your kids and you are having conversations as well, because I know that you don't shy away from talking about life and things, and I think you're making them very strong humans for sure.
Thank you. Well, and I think that their stories, separate from even COVID, just how their stories start, you know, as they've grown up, the resiliency that they have shown through their stories has empowered them to also know that they can get through anything. Because they understand even at their level of understanding that things can happen, and although they might not be the way that they thought that they should be,
right,
that life can still be good. And I can honestly say that for my 4 older ones, we have very in-depth conversations about that frequently, because their lives didn't start out as the easiest, for sure not.
Now, tell me, how do you navigate life when COVID is not happening, and what was your life like before?
So life was just my normal Monday through Friday. We would get the kids, I say we, my husband and I would tag team in the morning, get the kids up and out the door. Everyone was out of the door by 7 o'clock or so. And I started my workday around 8 o'clock in the morning, and I would work from 8 until about 2. And that's when the first round of kiddos would get off the bus. And then really my afternoon was dedicated to homework. And we have a very regimented schedule at our house still, because I think that that's super important for my kids who often struggle with executive functioning and order of operations. And quite frankly, having 5 children requires, for me, a schedule. So I feel like at least if things are, I don't use the word chaos because it's not chaotic,
right?
But I definitely like to know what's coming next as far as they need to know also.
They need to do that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
As someone who has been in the education field for a long time and worked with teachers, I can tell you that the most successful teachers and households where things run successfully or not successfully, but run optimal is when you're creating just routine, when you're creating a schedule so that there's no question. And I think that for children, they crave that structure. And
yes,
we think that, okay, let me just send them to this, and that. But you also need to give them the opportunity to breathe and to just process what they're thinking, feeling, and how they're relating to the world. I think having important conversations and helping them identify what is going on in their brain and what are they feeling and how they're feeling are causing them to relate to circumstances and things in themselves and their family is important.
Absolutely. And then also, with homeschooling, I think as parents, as adults in the situation, we tend to think our whole lives have changed, but really taking the time to see that it's not just our lives that have been impacted at all. I mean, think about our children's lives and theirs was just as impacted. So I know my 7-year-old, we talk a lot about mindfulness and we talk a lot about feeling what you feel. And if you need a break, it's okay to say, I need a break. So frequently she will say, now, there are sometimes she really does need a break. Now I think she's trying to pull one over on us just a little bit, but frequently she will say, I'd like to go meditate. I need a break. And she will find a quiet spot and we talk a lot about meditation and what that means for her body and regulating from the inside. And we do a lot of regulation. I do a lot of regulation in front of the kids because sometimes I will feel anxious and I will name it and I will say, this is what I'm doing. And just providing them an example that adults go through this too. And it's okay to feel what you feel. And here's a way,
right?
Way. Yeah, mm-hmm. that you can express that. They are masterful at naming emotions and different techniques that they can use to regulate from the inside. So we've done a lot of that too.
Yep. That's so important. And I think that in whether you're a teacher or a mom or an aunt like myself, really being able to model the things for kids that you want them to be able to learn. Kids are not going to learn from you telling them, hey, this is how you do something, go at it. But it's really them watching you, how you relate to the challenges, how you grieve when something hurts you, how you decide to take action on something. That is how they learn. And for instance, having a regimented schedule creates for them the ability to start to learn to time manage and be able to plan ahead and set goals for themselves. So
yes. And we give them autonomy over, we'll say, here's what needs to happen throughout the day. You get to pick when you get to do it, what schedule feels best for you. So that gives them autonomy and flexibility, right, to feel like they have some control. But it also allows for the job to be accomplished, right?
The one thing that I know that we have some uncertainties, I know you're in Nashville also, and for you guys, unlike here in the Northeast and the Connecticut and the New York area as well, we are not looking to open. And you are going to be going to some semblance of normalcy and beginning to transition back to not the state of social distancing. What are some of the goals that you have for yourself as you begin to transition out of the social distancing state?
For our family, we're actually keeping things the same for now. Just based on, I'm still receiving treatments that effectively kill my immune. Yeah. And it keeps me alive. And I know that sounds counterproductive to be doing that in the middle of a global pandemic, but it is something that a decision that I've made and we've made as a family and that I've made with my team of doctors to continue to do. So we are going to continue practicing physical distancing for right now and continuing all the things that we've been doing just to see how it all kind of shakes out. we have let our kids know. My kids have known for a very long time. COVID-19 hasn't changed really the way that I've been operating as far as being careful with germs and hand washing and all of that. It just has reinforced why I have been this way for as long as they can remember. So now they're hearing other people say immune systems, and they're like, oh, we know that because my mom doesn't have one.
Right,
so
right.
They'll talk about, oh, we know what's going on, so they can kind of relate in that way. But then I think that it's also so important to explain to them why we're doing things the way that we are.
Right.
But yes, we are definitely opening and doing things a little bit differently than you guys are up there.
Right.
And I think it will just be neat to see. I think my strategy is the wait and see approach.
That's a good strategy.
Yeah, just to see how things go. I mentioned my husband had to go back to work this week, and his corporation has been fantastic in understanding that he has an immunocompromised person and children at home. And so they have adopted and will maintain all of the glove wearing and the masks and all of the things.
Right.
And I think that they're taking a wait and see approach too before they jump back into life as normal, because I think that we won't ever go back to exactly as it was before.
Agreed. I think what I love is that so many companies have shown their human side in the middle of all of this. And they have either, taken precautions for their employees or really made decisions that are not good for the bottom line, but are good for the employees. And it gives me hope. It gives me hope that we're in this together and we're figuring it out. Even when maybe not the right thing has been done, I think that everybody is in their hearts of hearts trying their best and hoping to navigate this with the best integrity and the best judgment that you can. So I believe so too.
Awesome. Yeah. So I think I feel comfortable with the approach. And again, I say all the time, we have a plan and the plan can change. Right. Just maintaining flexibility and, I will have to be careful just as I've always been.
Right. It's funny because when I also started to sort of self-quarantine before most people were doing it, because again, I have an autoimmune and I did not want to be in a position where I was compromising myself. But most people are like, oh, did you go buy this? And I thought, if you just knew, I have so much antibacterial soap. I have all the wipes. I have all the Purell. I have everything at home.
Yeah.
The toilet paper was a challenge, but I actually, speaking of toilet paper, I got I got 2 packages in the mail today. One was a box, and it contained a lot of toilet paper. A lot. So I had made the comment to one of our tribe sisters from No BS group that Dan had gone out to buy toilet paper because we were getting down to like the last of the couple rolls we had, and the couple of the stores did not have it. And then he was able to get, I think, like a 4-roll, but the 4-roll that you buy at the dollar store that's barely toilet paper. So
one ply.
Yeah. But so
tissue paper.
So she actually had gone to Costco, and she is a single woman, but I guess she had stocked up enough for years. So she sent me this box, and Dan shows me, I was on another call, and he shows like the toilet paper, and I'm like, oh, and I knew she was sending me, so I'm like, oh, that's so sweet. That should get us through, right? No, she sent me a huge box with like 5 packages. So now, my goodness. I don't think we're going to have to ever buy toilet paper till like maybe the fall. I don't know.
You're good. You're all set.
Yeah, we're all set. And then the other thing I got today, and I don't know who sent this, but I'm very excited. I got flowers. Someone sent me flowers, but there's no card. Well, so,
oh my goodness.
I'm going to have to play detective because the box, it said peel here and it says, oh, the person chose not to send you a card. I'm like, what? who did this?
Yeah.
So I'm very excited to find out and go in the search of the flower sender.
Yeah.
And then yesterday, thanks to you, I also was a recipient of a tiara from Jerry. So
Wonderful.
She sent me a little tiara because my birthday is coming up. So I'm so excited to wear it. I'm going to wear it all day to Dan's dismay because, I love tiaras anyway.
As you should. And this birthday is definitely different than I think you anticipated, right?
I made the joke to Dan that I had envisioned my birthday to be this very big thing and I was going to do it. And then I'm like, well, I really can't do everything I really wanted it. And so that God was punishing me because now he's like, fine, you didn't like the party you were going to throw yourself. So now you get no party. But of course, that's
love it.
Yeah, that's not the reason.
Whatever it is,
it's going to be fabulous. And as a birthday gift to myself, my birthday will be the official release of the podcast.
That's awesome.
Because I am looking forward to just putting out into the universe and for other women who are looking for that sisterhood of knowing that we're in it together and we can learn from each other and we share a common thread. We sometimes don't feel the confidence, but we all have dreams and goals that we want to accomplish. And if we learn from each other, we can get there.
Absolutely. Oh, I love that. And I'm so proud of you. And this is so exciting.
I am excited. I can't wait. And it's been so fun to know that there are so many unknowns and wonderful opportunities and people that I will get to meet and spend time with that I can't wait to see what's in store.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so proud of you and so excited. I can't wait.
I know, me too. And I can't wait to see you. Hopefully I get to see you in July.
I know. Well, we may just be ready to rock and roll down here.
Listen, I will get myself down there because as soon as they say travel, it's okay, let's do it. I'm going to be there. So,
yeah.
And for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, we have several women's retreats that No BS that Corinne puts together. And we are just thrilled to be able to get together, learn from her, learn from each other, and just share the wonderful experience of being in this big sisterhood. So,
and all the hugs this time, definitely. Oh,
I know. I can't. Other than Dan, I really am not hugging anyone. And he's a good hugger, but really, it's not the same.
It's definitely not the same. And I am not a hugger by nature at all.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But something happens when I get into the tribe, the sisterhood, the collective group, and I turn into this demonstrative, touchy-feely, like sponge of affection. But typically, I'm not. But it's the love. It's definitely the love that's in that little bubble of ours. And I'm just excited to experience that again.
Me too. For this extrovert, a hug would do me good.
Yes.
So one last thing, what's next goal for you? What are you working towards?
So when all of the COVID-19 thing went down, I had a lot of plans that were postponed. So I still plan on doing them. The last half of 2020 is going to be busy because whatever was postponed, even though they were with different companies, different projects, they were all rescheduled within like a 3-week span in October, November. So that's going to be very busy. But I think one of my goals is to really continue to create art, but to use my art as a platform to tell my story and to share love and spread hope, because I really think that is what my purpose is. I think that's what God put me on this earth to do. And I think that if the vessel is art right now, that is something that I am absolutely thrilled to do. And more public speaking and I just sharing my story and remaining hopeful. Those are my goals. And to create. So my creative process is really interesting because I don't see colors anymore. Anytime I paint, the picture is really completed in my mind, if you can imagine. And I know the colors that I want to use. So I will write out what the title of the piece is. I'll write out the colors, and then I'll label all of the colors. Typically, I would never paint a piece in 2 different sections. Like I would paint the whole thing all at once. right now the challenge and the new way of learning how to do this is, how do I stop and start? Because I have a lot of different variables happening around me that don't allow for me just sitting and finishing a project. So that has been one of the challenging experiences, is how we get it done. So last night it felt really good to just finish something. That was what I had said, was it would feel really nice to finish, and so I did, and knowing that I can do it.
Well, if it's any comfort to you, any great art has different periods in their art. So this could be the Chelsey Tucker art 2020 period, or whatever I don't know if we want to call it COVID-19 or Corona or whatever it might be, but it's just a period in your art. It's a phase, and it evolves into the new creations that you will make after learning this new process. So
absolutely. So I'm excited, and I know a flower doesn't bloom year round, and I've always just really adopted that for myself, is that, I though I feel creative right now, which is an amazing thing. It's a really fun place to be.
Yep.
Creativity is being expressed in different ways with my kids, and so I think that that's something fun that we've shared. We've done a lot, as I've mentioned, a lot of things that I swore we'd never do.
Slime? Did you use some glitter in the slime?
No, I didn't venture that far out.
Yeah,
Not yet.
good.
But we did do acrylic pour painting yesterday, where we poured acrylic paint on a canvas, and I took a hair dryer, and with the air of the hair dryer moved it around on the canvas, and
That's fun.
Was fun and so messy. And we've just done lots of painting, lots of crafts. Just had a lot of fun.
Well, keep enjoying the times and keep doing what you do best and shining through your art, through your kids, and you're giving them such a legacy. So thank you again for being part of the podcast. If people want to check out your art, where do they go?
They can go to chelseatuckerart.com, and they can find me on social media platforms like Instagram and Facebook at Chelsey Tucker Art.
Awesome. And if they want to learn more about how can they support the research that is going to help people like you, where can they do that?
There are many different corporations right now that are looking into neuromyelitis optica spectrum disorder. The place that I would like to send them is the SamiraFoundation.com. That is a program that I'm an ambassador for. She has a lot of different resources for what the layman's language is for this disease, and all of the companies, and so she's not affiliated with any one particular company, but she has a lot of fantastic information about what this is and how you can best support, and so that's where I would direct people.
I love it. So thank you so much for making an impact on the lives of people. Keep doing what you do, like I said, and paint some angels for me and give me the inside scoop.
That's what I painted last night. I painted angels.
I love it.
And guess what? They're headed to Hawaii. So that's one of the states that I'm not currently in. And so I'm so excited about it.
I love that. Oh my gosh.
I'm so excited. Someone also sent me two pieces of barnwood that has been in a family barn for 150 years. They've had this barn that they recently torn down, but they sent me pieces of wood to paint on.
That's gorgeous.
Heirlooms for their family, and it's like just mind-blowing projects that I'm just so honored to be part of. It's just, isn't that amazing?
That is amazing. I love it.
I'm so excited.
Again, I know those pieces are going to bring joy to the people that look at them, because I get that every day. And of course, there's Yogi again. He really wants to be participating in this podcast.
Yes, I think he'd like a picture of himself. I think that's what he's saying.
You want a picture of you, Yogi? He's looking at me like, you're crazy.
What?
Stop talking. Yeah. Why are you talking to yourself? Anyway, I love you, my dear. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Congratulations on the podcast.
Thank you.
Yes.
I'm going to go play with makeup. Dan went golfing, so I'm going to entertain myself with some makeup.
There you go. And I'm not going to order anymore. That's my vow to myself, is no more for this week.
All right, tell me what you ordered. Maybe I'll go and place that order and get it out of my cart.
It's the whole list.
You did? You ordered everything on that list?
Yeah.
I'll link it for sure. People, you need to go look. Oh, it's a fabulous, fabulous look for sure. So
it is amazing. And how she can do her eyebrows without like,
I tried doing my eyebrows like she did without using the stencil. I'm like, yeah, no, I can't do that.
No, I mean, it's like, that's artistry.
Yeah, I mean, the number 2 brush, that's what I got out of the whole thing last night.
I just got that she did not have any real visible eyebrows to start with, but she ended with perfectly symmetrical brows that she did with her hands. I'm like, how in the world do you do that?
With a number 2 brush from this cosmetic company. And if she's listening, hopefully in the future, she will come and be my sponsor for the podcast.
I think her name's Desiree, or I don't know what it was, but I tell you what, yes.
She did a great job.
Yeah, she did a great job.
Maybe I'll find her and see if she wants to be in the podcast.
That'd be amazing. Ask her how I can become an ambassador, a brand ambassador.
Oh, there you go. You would be a great brand ambassador. Because I use all their makeup and facial products too. So,
I mean, set new goals. That might be one of the things that I add down here.
There you go. All right, we'll check in and see how we are moving toward those goals. Go confidently, Miss Chelsey. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.
Mwah.
Well, it was great hearing from Chelsey, especially considering that this weekend you are actually scheduled to be in Nashville.
Yes, don't remind me. I was hoping to be in Nashville for the No BS program retreat, and I was going to party hardy with my girlfriends for my birthday. But we have excellent plans for ourselves. But back to Chelsey. What did you think?
I thought it was an interesting interview. It was kind of insightful to hear from a person who had struggled with not knowing exactly what was wrong with her health and going through years of being misdiagnosed. Right.
And definitely, I love that she is bringing awareness to neuromyelitis, optica. I know I'm not saying this correctly, but people, bear with me. We're not going to edit that. Check Chelsey out. She is Chelsey Tucker Art on Instagram. But most importantly, get to know people in your community that are just as fabulous and get inspiration from people who have continued to persevere. Persevere is key in life.
And I think from a personal standpoint for me, and I know you're like this, is being relentless with diagnoses. And if you're told that you're diagnosed with something, ask questions. Don't just accept it.
Yes.
Ask questions of your doctors. Ask again. Ask another doctor. Make sure they got it right.
Yes, and I think that a lot of women, we tend to just be told something and, okay, kind of take it at face value. And listen, you have to learn as a person, whether you're a male or female, no one will advocate more strongly for you than you. It is okay, just because you don't have MD after your name. Don't necessarily freak out and go to Dr. Google and freak out, but do seek experts' second opinions and advice. Find the people that have gone through similar things and get them to tell you what experts they consult, because it is important to, all of us can diagnose ourselves through Google. However, there are experts that have worked very hard in their field, and these are the people that can guide you and use the resources out there.
Once again, where can you find information on Chelsey?
Chelsey Tucker Art on Instagram and Facebook.
And where can we find information on Julie DeLucca-Collins?
Julie DeLucca-Collins can be found on Instagram at Casa de Confidence Podcast.
podcast. That's what we're doing right now. It took me off guard. It's so new.
It's so new, but
if you're listening to the podcast starting on April 26th, you're probably listening on Stitcher, SoundCloud, or Spotify. Apple iTunes is soon to come. It should be available within a week or two. And we'll be looking forward to your candid, honest reviews.
Please make sure you subscribe and that you review us. We love reviews.
As a matter of fact, as soon as we get enough reviews in, we're going to begin reading each review on the podcast as a weekly segment.
I can't wait to see what kind of jewels come in for Julie.
I see what you did there. Jules.
That's right.
All right. So, well, this is a great week. We hope you enjoyed the show.
Thank you for joining. I am so excited. And as always, go confidently in the direction of your dreams.
Thanks for joining us this week on the Casa de Confidence podcast with Julie DeLucca-Collins. Remember to check her out on Instagram and Facebook, and always click subscribe to catch every new episode. Remember, leave a review so we can continue to bring you fresh content. And as always, go confidently in the direction of your dreams.
Hi, everybody. I know that sometimes we get very lonely in this entrepreneur journey, and I want to invite you to join us into our limited time only Purposeful You Mastermind. For many of us entrepreneurs, we believe that we can do it all, but the reality is that doing it alone only creates a lot of overwhelm. So join us at the Purposeful You Mastermind. You can find out more information by going to bit.ly/Julie's Mastermind. This is going to be the place where you are able to then unlock your full potential and achieve long-term success for your business. Push you behind your current limits, expand your connections, discover new ideas, and implement them with confidence. You're going to get the support in all aspects and transforming you to the six-figure business you've been looking for. Pause and get off the hamster wheel if you've been spinning around. This is a time where you can get that support from like-minded entrepreneurs that are here to join you in your journey. Together, we can challenge the assumptions and land the speaking engagements and opportunities we want to grow our business and make an impact in the lives of people. See you then. Remember, you can find the mastermind at bit.ly, Julie's Mastermind.